Anything that occurs in the human body requires a B complex vitamin. And B complex vitamins are extremely important for our brains. They allow our brain to use energy, to use calories for energy, sugar for energy. Sugar is the primary source of energy for our brain. It's not protein, it's not fats, it's sugar. And without B vitamins, you cannot use sugar for energy. B vitamins also allow the creation and release of neurotransmitters. We know of about 100 different neurotransmitters. You're probably familiar with some of their names. Serotonin, which helps control your appetite and prevents depression and anxiety. Melatonin, that allows you to sleep, which is actually more of a hormone than a neurotransmitter. Acetylcholine for you to learn and remember. All of these 100 different neurotransmitters require B vitamins to function. B vitamins also protect the genes in our brain. They protect the genes everywhere in our body. You have to wash your genes. That's called methylation. So the B vitamins protect the genes in your brain. This keeps your brain cells functioning. This keeps your brain functioning. This keeps you functioning. Lacking B vitamins in the brain is connected with depression, shrinkage of the brain that occurs with aging. We'll go into this later in the program. And memory loss with aging. So welcome to our B complex vitamins and your brain episode. Hi, my name's Jerry Hickey. I'm a pharmacist who also has studied nutrition, and I'm over here at Invite Health. I'm also the scientific director, and I'd like to talk to you today about the many benefits that B vitamins have for your brain. Please be sure to subscribe to the Invite Health podcast. Please leave us a review. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Invite Health. All of the information on today's episode will be linked in the episode description, and you can visit invitehealth.com/podcast for more information. So let's get going. There are 8 B complex vitamins. B1, which is usually called thiamine. Every B vitamin has other names. B2, which is riboflavin. B3, which is niacin. B5, which is pantothenic acid, B6, which is pyridoxine, B7, which is biotin, B9, which is folate, and B12, which is cobalamin. All of the B vitamins are involved with energy production. They're involved with everything that occurs in your brain, but also your body. Like I said, energy production out of food and oxygen, brain function, heart health, blood sugar control, cancer prevention. Name it, and there's a B vitamin involved. Now, your brain is a super high energy organ. After you eat a meal or you take a supplement, your brain snaps up a large percentage of the B vitamins and also vitamin C. I mean, they just go right into the parts of the brain that are super active. So your brain requires a large pool of B complex vitamins because of energy. Your brain is by far the most metabolically active organ in your body. It represents only about 2% of your body weight, but accounts for over 20% of the body's total energy expenditure. In other words, when you eat a meal, the brain snaps up 20% of the calories from that meal typically. The importance of the B vitamins for brain function is illustrated by the fact that each vitamin is actively transported across the blood-brain barrier and the choroid plexus. So let me explain what that is. A little bit technical. The choroid plexus is involved with your spinal fluid, your cerebral spinal fluid. And it has the ability to soak up B vitamins preferentially. It cherry picks them out of the blood and carries them into the brain. And the blood-brain barrier, let me explain what that is, because that's a really interesting thing. There's insulation on all your blood vessels. This keeps things trapped in the blood that don't belong in the body. In the brain, there's extra insulation because if something gets out of the blood and into the brain that doesn't belong there, it could be tragically dangerous. For instance, if you had an infection in your toe, you'd wash it with soap and water. You'd probably put a little bit of hydrogen peroxide in there to kill any germs, and then you'd put a little bacitracin ointment on it, put a Band-Aid on it, and forget about it. Now, if you had the same infection in your brain, it could kill you. So the blood vessels in the brain have extra insulation, largely made out of collagen, and this keeps things in the blood, prevents them from getting into the brain. Yet the brain has different mechanisms for each B vitamin to preferentially cherry pick it out of the blood and carry it into the brain. It shows you how important B vitamins are for the function of the brain. Now, once in the brain, very specific uptake mechanisms will dictate where the B vitamins are distributed. The B vitamins all have a high turnover rate. That's why you have to get them daily. Some B vitamins you lose 10-20% per day. Others you lose 100% in one day. So you have to get a good supply of B vitamins on a daily basis. Now, the B vitamins, their levels in your brain are tightly regulated by multiple homeostatic mechanisms. In other words, you're keeping it at the right concentration. This guarantees that the brain concentrations remain comparatively high, actually, compared to the rest of the body. For example, the concentration of folate, methyl tetrahydrofolate in the brain, is 4 times that seen in your blood plasma. The blood plasma is the clear part of your blood. Whereas biotin and pantothenic acid exist in the brain at concentrations up to 50 times that seen in plasma. Up to 50 times higher than in the rest of the bloodstream. Now let's talk about specific functions for your brain. But before that, so I'm going to break down each B vitamin and go into what they do for your brain. Before that, let's just go to a quick break.
This podcast is brought to you by InviteHealth.com. For over 20 years, Invite Health has provided premium quality supplements and expert advice you can trust. Now, first-time customers can enjoy an exclusive offer. Visit invitehealth.com/podcast or click the link in this episode description. That's invitehealth.com/podcast for your exclusive offer on Invite Health products. Invite Health offers the resources you need to make important decisions about your health. Chat live with degreed healthcare professionals, get product information, and find retail locations near you at invitehealth.com. You can also learn about our new genetic testing program and our exclusive Invite Fitness Wellness program. Follow Invite Health on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and be sure to subscribe to our podcast today. Now back to our episode.
Okay, welcome back to the episode B complex vitamins and your brain. Let's start off with B1. We'll go numerically. Vitamin B1 is also called thiamine. It's necessary for making fatty acids. Now that's very important because they're used for energy. And precursors to a range of neurotransmitters. These are chemicals released by the brain cells, by the neurons of the brain, that are responsible for the functions of the brain. So, for instance, serotonin allows you to control your appetite and prevents anxiety and stress and depression. Another one is norepinephrine. It helps you focus on something. Acetylcholine allows you to learn and remember and solve problems. They require thiamine, vitamin B1. Thiamine is required for the brain to use sugars. That's really important. Thiamine B1 works with an enzyme called transketolase. It allows the brain to use energy. Some researchers are calling Alzheimer's diabetes of the brain. So just like the body can't use sugar for energy in diabetes, and Alzheimer's, the brain can't use sugar for energy. Thiamine, especially in a fatty form called benfotiamine, helps reverse that. Thiamine is needed to create your neurons. These are the nerve cells of your brain, the thinking cells of your brain, the ones that transfer messages, the ones that have an electrical impulse. So researchers have known for a long time that permanent memories are stored when nerve cells in your brain reorganize and they form connections with one another. Like they might form connections with 1,000 other cells. But that process takes time. Your individual neurons can hold a memory temporarily. I'll give you an example. Learning how to play poker is long-term memory. But if you have somebody who's like a card shark at a casino in Las Vegas, and they're counting cards, they can do that with one individual neuron. It holds that memory for a short amount of time. Now, thiamine's also needed to create glial cells. They're also called microglia. There's a whole bunch of them. They're the support team for your neurons. So your neurons are the cells that transfer messages, that make you think, that let you solve problems, that let you learn, that let you remember. The glial cells help clean them, help feed them, help organize them, and also work as the immune system for them, and also remove them when they're damaged so you don't damage your brain. So the glial cells, they don't do the big jobs in our brain, but without them, you don't get the big jobs done. So they're the support network. Now, riboflavin, that's vitamin B2. First of all, riboflavin makes an important antioxidant in the brain. It recycles it. It's called glutathione. Glutathione is it's an enzyme system antioxidant. When you make it, it lasts about 48 hours in the brain. It protects the brain from toxins. It protects the brain from using sugar and oxygen for energy. Otherwise, this would kill cells. It protects the brain from any kind of inflammation. It's just incredible. Without riboflavin, there's no glutathione. Riboflavin is involved with energy production. It's crucial for making our body and our brain work. It creates rate-limiting factors for most of the processes that take place in the trillions of cells that make our body. As an example, it's crucial for the recycling of niacin, which is vitamin B3, folate, which is B9 and vitamin B6, and for the synthesis of hemoglobin. Hemoglobin's the red stuff in your blood cells. And your red blood cells. So when I describe a red blood cell, I use somebody else's example. You think of your red blood cells as a balloon, yellow, blue, green. That would be your blood type. But inside the balloon, everything's the same. It's red. That's the hemoglobin. That's what carries oxygen around the body. You can't make hemoglobin without vitamin B2. You also can't make nitric oxide synthases. Now that's really important. These allow you to make a gas called nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is what opens up your blood vessels. So in other words, when your heart pumps blood, your blood vessels respond to messages from the heart. You create nitric oxide, which pushes the blood vessels open. It's kind of like filling a bicycle tire with air. And this allows the free movement of blood. So without enough nitric oxide, you develop high blood pressure. But with nitric oxide, you pump open the blood vessels. It's easy to get the blood to your brain and to your feet and everywhere else, so your heart doesn't have to pump harder. That's called normal blood pressure. So you need the B2 to create hemoglobin to carry oxygen and to make nitric oxide to move it around. The B2 creates nitric oxide synthases, and these take an amino acid, something that's from protein, and create nitric oxide out of it. You also need riboflavin to make P450 enzymes. That's really important. P450 enzymes are involved with absorbing drugs and nutrients from the intestines. P450 enzymes are important in your kidneys and liver for breaking down and getting rid of toxins. You need vitamin B2 for the metabolism of essential fatty acids. You can't insulate your brain cell or transfer messages or learn or remember or have any energy in your brain without riboflavin. You need a riboflavin to absorb iron. Your brain needs iron. Without iron, toxins into your brain like lead. The regulation of thyroid hormones. If your thyroid isn't functioning because you lack riboflavin, you don't have metabolism, you don't have energy. It will affect your IQ, it will affect your brain energy, you'll become more anxious, depressed, you just won't think speedily. Now, that was just 2 B vitamins, and there's 8 B vitamins. So let's go to the third one, vitamin B3, which is called niacin, it's called niacinamide, it's called nicotinamide, it's called nicotinic acid. It has a vast array of names, but it's involved with a vast array of processes and enzymes that are involved in every aspect of brain cell function. Everything in the brain, everything that happens in the brain is dependent on niacin. Niacin is converted to NAD. NAD is converted to NADH and NADPH, which are involved with creating energy. You need niacin to create energy out of food and oxygen. No niacin, no energy. But niacin also creates NADPH, which is probably the best anti-aging nutrient on planet Earth. It stimulates sirtuin genes. These are longevity genes. These are the genes, when you eat a super low-calorie diet, these are the genes that are stimulated by those diets for having a longer, healthier life. Now, beyond energy production, niacin is needed for the conversion of folate to its active form, tetrahydrofolate. That's important because that helps prevent cancers, among other things. Now, B5. B5 is pantothenic acid. This is likely the least known vitamin by the public, yet it's the most important B complex vitamin. B5 Pantothenic acid is the most important B complex vitamin. You cannot use fats or proteins or carbohydrates from food to make energy without vitamin B5. Because our body transforms vitamin B5 into coenzyme A, coenzyme A is then converted into acetyl coenzyme A, and this is involved with creating energy out of food and out of oxygen. So, think about it. Your lungs is to transfer oxygen into blood. Your heart is to pump the blood around the body. That's to give energy everywhere. Without B5, nothing is happening. Every part of your metabolism for energy, for detoxification, for healing, for growing, for anything requires B5. You need B5 to create cholesterol. Now, cholesterol has a bad reputation. You need cholesterol. Cholesterol heals your nerves. Cholesterol heals your muscle. Cholesterol heals your brain. That's not well known. You need B5 to create steroid hormones. You need B5 to create acetylcholine. That's unbelievable. Acetylcholine is the neurotransmitter in your brain that lets you solve problems, that lets you learn something new. But that's also the memory neurotransmitter. You do not remember anything without acetylcholine. So as we age, acetylcholine levels drop, and that can affect our memory. But in Alzheimer's patients, which doesn't happen to everybody, obviously, in Alzheimer's patients specifically, they have virtually no acetylcholine. The drugs they give them is to help restore acetylcholine levels so they can think a little bit and function a little bit, carry on with life a little bit. Acetylcholine also repairs the part of our brain involved with memory, the 80 million cells in our gray matter that allow us to function as humans. You need pantothenic acid for energy production, for detoxification, and to make ketones, which is an alternate source of energy for the aging brain. B5 pantothenic acid also contributes to the structure and function of brain cells because its effect on cholesterol, on creating and functioning amino acids, on phospholipids. That's really important. Phospholipids support the brain structure so your brain cells don't decay. They're called glycerophospholipids. They support memory. That's phosphatidylserine. They support the lymphatic system, getting rid of toxins from the brain. They support all the different memory functions, learning, paying attention, etc. All the different functions of the body involved, those with the brain, all those very advanced human things. So, like I said, pantothenic acid is probably the least known vitamin by the public and by a number of people in the healthcare field, but it's probably the most important B vitamin. Now, B6, that also has a bunch of names: pyridoxine, pyridoxal 5-phosphate, pyridoxamine. It's involved with folate. Folate helps prevent cancer. It helps repair your genes. B6 is needed for the formation of amino acids. Amino acids function as neurotransmitters in the brain. For instance, glutamate and glutamic acid give the brain energy. GABA allows the brain to relax and learn. So you need B6 for all of these things to function. You need B6 to make dopamine. Dopamine in the back of the brain is involved with your balance and your muscle function and your mobility. And dopamine in the front of the brain is involved with learning what's right and wrong, what's dangerous and what's good for you. So, and a lot of bad habits come out of trying to improve your dopamine level. For instance, people smoke cigarettes or drink alcohol to help boost up their dopamine so they feel normal. You need B6 to make serotonin. Once again, serotonin is needed to control your appetite, to prevent anxiety and stress and depression. But the serotonin takes an extra step at bedtime, and you make the hormone melatonin. Melatonin does a whole bunch of things. It seems to be anti-cancer. It helps regulate your blood pressure. It helps keep the hair in your head in the dormant phase. Melatonin is needed for your immune system to function properly. In fact, one of the reasons why people suffer from inflammation, increased inflammation with age, and immunosenescence, a drop in immune function, is because of a drop in the hormone melatonin. Melatonin may help ringing in the ears, Melatonin has a lot of benefits. We've done a couple of podcasts on this, a couple of episodes. You need B6 to make norepinephrine. That allows you to focus and pay attention. And you need B6 to make GABA, gamma aminobutyric acid, which calms you down, which helps get rid of stress. It's kind of like a moment of zen. But GABA also allows you to learn. It opens up the cells that allows information to get stored in your cells for your memory. Even a mild drop in B6 will result in a drop in GABA and serotonin synthesis, which can lead to depression, anxiety, obesity, being very stressed out, and an inability to learn and remember. A lack of B6 leads to a loss of the hypothalamic pituitary control of your hormone excretion. That's important. The neuroendocrine system of the brain, the hypothalamus, is key to that. It's a great regulator. It controls your body temperature, your body rhythms. You know, when you go to bed and when you wake up and when you go to the bathroom and when you're hungry, all these things. It works through glands called the pituitary, the anterior and posterior pituitary, and these in turn control the release of hormones throughout the human body, such as releasing insulin, such as releasing thyroid hormone for your metabolism. So you need B6 for this to function. B6 also directly affects your brain's immune function. B6 is needed for your brain's ability to use sugar. Once again, sugar is the primary source of energy for the brain, so you need B1 and B6 to really regulate that. You need B6 in the form of pyridoxal 5-phosphate to prevent inflammation in your brain. You never want your brain to be inflamed. The level of pyridoxal 5-phosphate, B6, decreases in the brain with more severe inflammation. And this leads to the development of many pathological neurological conditions, such as cognitive decline, shrinkage of the brain, and dementias. Now let's go to biotin. Biotin is B7. The brain is particularly sensitive to the delivery of sugar. It depends on sugar for energy, so the metabolism of sugar is key. Biotin plays a key role in sugar metabolism, glucose metabolism, and blood sugar control in your brain, but throughout the body, actually. You need biotin to control blood sugar. Biotin is needed for hair growth. It's needed for your nails. It's needed for your skin. It's needed to create branched-chain amino acids. Does a lot of things for the brain, the branched-chain amino acids. So with true biotin deficiency, you develop all sorts of neurological symptoms that affect your brain and nervous system. You know, depression, severe fatigue that we call lethargy, hallucinations. You know, before we go any further, let's just go to a break. Jerry Hickey, Invite Health. We'll be right back.
This podcast is brought to you by InviteHealth.com. For over 20 years, Invite Health has provided premium quality supplements and expert advice you can trust. Now, first-time customers can enjoy an exclusive offer. Visit invitehealth.com/podcast or click the link in this episode description. That's invitehealth.com/podcast for your exclusive offer on Invite Health products. Invite Health offers the resources you need to make important decisions about your health. Chat live with degreed healthcare professionals, get product information, and find retail locations near you at invitehealth.com. You can also learn about our new genetic testing program and our exclusive Invite Fitness Wellness program. Follow Invite Health on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and be sure to subscribe to our podcast today. Now back to our episode.
Okay, welcome back. So if you're lacking biotin, which is vitamin B7, you develop a lot of symptoms in the brain. You get tingling of your nerves and your extremities. You get ataxia, which is, severe dizziness. You can have seizures, hallucinations, numbness, depression, lethargy. Biotin is very interesting. Recently, they found biotin helps patients with multiple sclerosis. Multiple sclerosis is considered to be an autoimmune disease. And what happens, you have worsening over time. We call that progressive loss of myelin. Myelin is a sheath covering the nerves in your brain. It makes nerve function, the conductivity of nerves, faster. Makes it super fast. And with MS, it damages the myelin sheath surrounding your nerves in your brain, and in your spinal column, and you lose neurons, you lose brain cells. And they've shown that biotin safely improves the symptoms of people with MS. Biotin's needed to bring branched-chain amino acids into your brain. They're involved with energy in the brain. They're leucine, isoleucine, and valine. We have a lot more to say with B vitamins in the brain, so I better make this episode into 2 parts. So we'll continue this in the next part two. Thank you for tuning into the Invite Health podcast. You can find all of our episodes for free wherever you listen to podcasts or by visiting invitehealth.com/podcast. Please make sure you subscribe and please leave us a review. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Invite Health Today. We'll see you next time on another episode of the Invite Health podcast, and thank you so much for listening.